welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be doing my birth story. I know I have been kind of absent from my channel, and the reason being is that, you know, having a brand new baby is really hard. You know, making time to do videos. Usually by the end of the night I'm really tired. So right now I'm trying to talk as slow as I can because she's sleeping. She's right beside me. So yeah, it feels really good to be doing videos again, definitely. So yeah, but let's start with, so it all started Thursday 4th. It was the 4th of June. So me and my fiance decided to go to the pool where we live. The apartments, they have a pool. And so that week we were kind of going to the pool a lot, and I was like, you know, it's a time to exercise, so I would do a few exercises in the pool. And we would just be there relaxing and talking and stuff. So yeah, we were there at the pool for like 1 hour and a half. We got there like at 8 and we left like at 9:40ish, so like an hour and 40 minutes around there. And so as we were getting out of the pool, we went through the gate and I felt like something was leaking, and I was like, oh, it's maybe the pool, because you guys know, like, you know, you're wet and everything. And so then I was like, but it felt weird because I was like, it feels like, because the other day it kind of felt like that, but it stopped. It was just, you know, because I was like wet because I had just gotten out of the pool. And so yeah, and then it's, you know, as I walked home, it started again. And I said, hey, look, it looks like this. I dried all myself, and look, but it was like coming slowly. Yeah, she's trying to wake up. So yeah, it was slowly, and I was like, he was like, I think your water is breaking. But you know, me being a first time mom, I'm not really good with those things. So then we went home. Obviously the pool's not too far from here, where it's literally in our apartment. And so we then I was like, called my mom and I said, hey mom, this and this happened. It's just like, I think your water broke. So then I called my nurse line. I went to take a shower, and as I was taking a shower I called them, and they were like, oh, you need to come in and all this. And I was like, I'm just gonna go waste my time, because, you know, we went to the hospital in April, but it was because the baby wasn't moving. So I was like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna stop by to get sprinkles, because on the way to our hospital, it's like on the way, sprinkles cupcakes is there, and there's an ATM. And so that's what I thought. So yeah, I was like, man, I'm just gonna go waste my time, like they're gonna send me back. But yeah, I then, you know, after, that's what I was thinking as I took a shower. But then I was like, no, I'm still gonna go regardless, because I want cupcakes. So then my mom called me again, and she's like, are you gonna go to the hospital after I took a shower? Keep in mind it was already like 10:30, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go in. Then my fiance, he was talking on the phone, and he was like getting all the house ready, because as many of you guys know, I do sell flan and stuff, and I had made a flan for my mom and actually to sell that day. So I wasn't finished, like I cleaned, but he put away all the dishes, and like we had dinner. So he was like, we left our like dinner sitting there, not like the food, but we got Chipotle that day, like before we went to the pool, and it was like really spicy, but I don't know if that's what triggered it. But yeah, then, you know, he threw it away because obviously we were gonna eat it. He went to take a shower. I started to get ready. I got my clothes ready and stuff. Like I got my clothes ready. But my bags were packed. I just had to put like my toothpaste, my charger, like my ID, like stuff that, obviously I couldn't put before, but that's the only thing. And literally that week I got like our snack bag already, because I did a snack bag. But I'm gonna do a whole nother video on that. Like, I'm just gonna kind of do a rundown of what I put on my hospital, but that's a whole nother video. So yeah, and then after that, he got out of the shower. When he got out, I had everything ready, so I was just waiting for him. And then I was a big fan of like mom groups, and I also posted on there. They're like, yeah, you should definitely go in. So yeah, I went in. And then after that, oh my god, I think a mosquito bit me. Then after that, I didn't drive to the hospital, because when I called the nurse line, they told me for me not to drive. So my fiance drove us there, and at this point, I think it was 12. Yeah, I think it was 12, because it did take us forever to get out of the house. And yeah, and then when we got there, obviously I put my face mask on, and we got to the hospital. And then the hospital that I delivered at, you have to go to, obviously I think it's everybody go to triage, but that's like another like area, and then like they send it to another area. But after that, I went in, and they were like, hey, why are you here? They didn't let my fiance in, only me, because of COVID-19. And so then I said, I called the nurse and told me to come in, because they think that my water broke. So then they took all my vitals, and they kind of told me to describe it. Then after that, they sent me to a triage room, because first I was in one room, then they sent me to a triage room. And then the nurse came in, and the nurse practitioner came in. So it was really quick, because the first time when I went for the baby wasn't moving, it took forever for the nurse practitioner to come in. So yeah, but this time she came in quick, like put me in the room, they told me to change, and she came in like 5 minutes after. So it was really, really quick. And so she came to check, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna do a cervical check, and I'm also gonna do this other test. I forgot the name of it, just I guess to check if my water had broken. So they were both there, and I was like, it's not gonna mean nothing, I'm gonna go home tonight. Like I just said, it's still in my mind. And so she was like, she checked me, she did the 2 tests, but then when she did the cervical one, that was the second one that she did. First she did the water breaking, then she did the other one, and she was like, so I think she's like, let me recheck and make sure that I am right. That's what she said. Those were her words. And I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, she's checking for me to go home. Like I'm so excited. Like I don't have to wait for 2 hours here, because when your baby's not moving, they make you wait 2 hours, like to monitor you. I was like, yes, I'm gonna get to go home and eat my cupcakes. And mind you, the next day I had a planned day. Like I was gonna get my nails done and all of this stuff. And that didn't happen. So then she was like, okay, they're gonna do the somebody's gonna come and do the COVID-19 test. And I was like, okay, I guess they want to make sure that I'm not positive before I go home, since I am pregnant. So because she didn't say anything, she didn't tell me anything. And so yeah, so the lady, then after she left, this lady came in, the person that I guess she does the test and all the blood work and stuff, the phlebotomist. And she was like, oh, I was like scared, because I heard all these bad things, about the COVID-19 test, but it wasn't really that hurtful. She just put a swab, and she was like, okay, you should get your results in a few minutes. It doesn't take more than 30 minutes. So I was like, okay. And then this lady comes in, like the register person. She's made me sign these papers, like if I needed emergency C-section, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe it's because, I have to sign this at the, at my clinic and I haven't signed it. I don't know, because I had my virtual appointment the next day. So then I was like, okay, I was still in my mind thinking I was gonna go home. Then this other nurse comes in and she's like, okay, we're ready to transfer you to labor and delivery. And I was like, yeah, she wants to wake up. I was like, what? I was like, what is she talking about? Like, and she didn't tell me. I was like, she didn't tell me anything. So yeah, and I was like, okay. I was like, and then to go to the other side where the labor and delivery is, my fiance was sitting there, and I was like, okay. He's like, I was like, go get our stuff. Like I remember I screaming to him. I was like, go get our. I was like, not being mean. I was like, go get our stuff. I'm gonna stay. That's all I said. So he's like, okay. So they made me go in, and obviously he went to get our stuff, and he had to go through all these protocols, for him to come into the hospital as well. And then, but when I was in the room, they were like, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna have my baby. I was like, they didn't even tell me anything. They're like, yeah, you're already 2 centimeters dilated, like you don't feel contractions. I'm like, no. She said it's my first baby, and I don't know, like I don't know what contractions feel like. And so then she was like, well, yeah, your water broke and you're 2 centimeters dilated. And I was like, oh, okay. First they were like, but in 3 hours we're gonna start you on this pill, Cytotec. I don't know the name. But and then she told me, she's like, okay, we're gonna put an IV. They put in the IV right here, and then this one, they actually ended up changing it to here, but that was after I had the baby. But yeah, and so she was like, for these 3 hours we're gonna let you labor on your own. So I was like, okay. And at this time it was already like 1. And then my fiance came, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe we're gonna have the baby, like oh my gosh. But then after that she was like, okay, so then she came and she's like, okay, we're actually gonna start you on Pitocin in 3 hours. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And actually I was really thirsty, so I said, hey, can you bring me water? And they're like, yeah, water and ice. So ice chips, and literally those were lifesavers that helped me so much. I don't know, they felt so good. And yeah, but she took forever to bring that. She took like 2 hours to bring that. And so, but I wasn't in that much pain. Like I felt a few things here and there, but it wasn't that bad. So then the nurse came in, and the nurse another nurse practitioner came in to check if I had progress, but this was like an hour after, and just like that I was still at the same. Then after that I was still, and then 3 hours later they started me on Pitocin, and they checked me, and then I was, still at the same one. So I wasn't getting like agitated or anything just yet, just because it hadn't been that long. So yeah, and then after that at 6 it came to check me again, but I was already in pain, but it wasn't that bad. It's just that the lady, the way I guess she was doing the cervical check, it was really painful. I don't know if it was because cervical checks are painful, but when she was doing it, it was hurtful. So then they were like, I think you should do the epidural already. So I was like, okay. So I did the epidural. The nurses came in, and the epidural started like at 6. And so yeah, they started at 6, and they told my fiance to leave, but then the nurse was there, and the person that does it, I guess, what's the name? So stupid, and I'm gonna say this all wrong. Anesthesiologist. Okay, I think I got it. But yeah, and she came, they did it, and then the nurse came in again, and they were like, okay, we're gonna let you like kick in, we're gonna let it kick in for 30 minutes, and then they'll do your cervical check. So then 30 minutes went by, and they did the cervical check, but then they were like, you're still at the same. She came in and they were like, you're still at 2 centimeters. And I was like, okay, it's already 6. I was like, I want to have my baby at least by noon. So then, this was already Friday the 5th. Maybe. And then, so then they didn't come until 10. They were like, we're not gonna come back until 10 a.m. So they're like, you should rest. So then after that, they changed shifts, so they changed my nurse. So then they put me this peanut ball. When she came in, she put me this peanut ball, and they were just cleaning me. I don't know, like, I don't know if it's bloody show. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, a lot of stuff was coming in out, like a lot of blood and stuff. And I felt it, but I couldn't control it because I couldn't feel from my like hips down. And so yeah, then after that, she they put that in, they put the peanut ball in, and she would clean me. um so yeah, and then after that, she left, and then I rested. I slept from, it was like 7:30 when I went to sleep, and I woke up at 10. And then they came to check me, still at the same, still not concerned. I was still hopeful that I could progress, but I was so hungry. My fiance was sleeping, and I was like, hey, like, I'm really hungry. He went to eat. I literally told him, hey, can you eat in front of me? But he actually didn't. He actually ate at the cafeteria because he said he felt bad that I couldn't eat. But honestly, I was like, can you eat in front of me so I can, like, I guess pretend I'm eating, because I had not eaten anything since 7 p.m. the day before. So yeah, and then after that, they he left to eat. I was by myself for a little bit. But this stupid thing, they put this little thing for the epidural and stuff, and it was right here, and I lost it, and I wanted a little bit more medicine because I was feeling a lot of pressure. And then this stupid thing from the Pitocin, they had this thing, it would just go off all day. It was going off. I was like, oh my god, I had to be calling the nurse because then the Pitocin wasn't working. And I was like, oh my god. And then he wasn't there, so that was a huge mess. But after that, he came back, and we were just there. I couldn't sleep after that. I was just on my phone, kind of relaxing, trying to sleep, but I still wouldn't be able to sleep. So for that was from 1. They just came to check me, peanut ball again, and they didn't go check me from since like in the morning, since like 10 to all the way to 6. So yeah, after that at 6, so everything was normal, kind of nurse coming to clean me up, check, it's just because you have a catheter and stuff, coming to clean that. So then they came in at 6, and they were like, you're still at the same, and you are -2, I think. So that means, because that's like how low the baby is, so that means that the baby was still high. And yeah, and I was still at 2 centimeters, and I was like, they were like, okay, so we're gonna have to start you on medicine so you don't get an infection, because your when your water has been broken for more than 18 hours, we have to put you on medicine. And I think the 18 hours had already passed. So they put me the medicine, and then after that, I keep saying after that, oh my god. So then um, I was starting to get desperate. Like, I was starting to get nervous because I didn't want a C-section. Um, that's what I was really scared about, because that's when they were starting to tell me that when I hit 24 hours with Pitocin that I would have to get a C-section. And I was like, oh my god. After the doctor left, and that one, I was starting to cry. I was like, oh my god, like, I don't want to get a C-section. Like, I just really don't want to. And I was crying to my fiance and stuff. Um, and so then we prayed, and, you know, we were like saying, hey, like, he was telling me, hey, you know, you have to be hopeful. We still have time. It's still 6 p.m. You have until 4 a.m. So I think we can do this. We still have time. So yeah, but then after we prayed, like, I started to feel it. Like, I started to feel the pressure. Like, from 6 till I had her, that's when, like, labor started. Like, literally. I felt like a lot of pressure, a lot of pain, like, but I was like, I don't know what to do, like, change the peanut ball, like, I don't know. He was like next to me holding my hand, like, but it wasn't that bad still. Then at 8 they came to check me, and they were like, you're at 4 now. So they were like, it's really hard to get to a 4. So from here it's probably gonna go really, really fast. So I was like, yes. So yeah. Then at 10, that's when the pain got unbearable, because I got a fever, and basically I got an infection because my water was broken for a long, long time. So yeah, they told me I had a fever, and I was like, okay. They were like, that's why the epidural wasn't working. So it literally, the epidural wore off, and I was feeling everything, and I was freaking dying. I was like holding the thing, like the little rails that the bed had. Like, oh my god, it was so bad. Like, I like the most painful thing ever. And I remember telling my fiance, like, I'm gonna die. Like, I felt like I was dying. To that point, like, literally, like, what they say about labor is really real. Like, it's really painful. But yeah, and then they came in, they were like, we're gonna give you medicine so you don't feel a lot of pain either. So then the medicine wore off again because of the fever. It didn't help. Then and the man was like, oh, we're gonna have to fix your epidural thing, because, you know, they're probably, because if this medicine doesn't work, we still have to go fix it, because I'm pretty sure she's gonna have a C-section. And I was like, no, I don't want one. Like, his attitude was like, he was like a bitch. Sorry for the cuss word, but yeah, it was. And then I was still in pain. They took all of, like, the blankets off. They just left me one, and it was like really thin because of the fever, obviously. But from there, I was still in pain. I was screaming my lungs out. And honestly, my fiance was such a support system throughout all of it. He was very great support. Even after now, you know, after we have our baby, you know, he's very supportive. So yeah, after they left, I was still in pain. So I told my nurse, I was like, hey, I'm still in pain. What can I do? Because this is like, I was having back labor. That's what she told me, because all the pain was in my back. She's like, you're having back labor. So I'm gonna talk to the anesthesiologist and see what we can do. And because the shifts have changed, the same person that did my epidural in the morning, she was there, And yeah, she helped. And then she came and they were like, hey, we're gonna have to do another epidural. And I was like, oh no, I'm in so much pain, like I'm not gonna be able to stand still, like I don't want to do it because I'm scared of being, paralyzed. So after that, they were like, okay, but you have to do it because otherwise the pain's gonna be really bad. It's gonna be unbearable, and you're suffering. And I know, like, you don't want to do it again, but like you're suffering. Like, don't do this if you don't. If you're like you feel like you're dying, you don't have to, continue with the pain. So I was like, okay, I'll get it. And then my fiance was like, yeah, you need to get it because you're in a lot of pain. So I got it. And then, and then they were like, hey, can he leave? And I was like, no, I want him here. Like, I really want him here. So they told me that they're not allowed for the, like, your fiance or your partner or the person that's with you, your support person, to like be there when you're getting the epidural. Like, I don't know if it's just the hospital that I delivered at, but then they were like, okay, he can stay, that's fine, he can stay, because I was in a lot of pain. So then he was there sitting, and he was very supportive through all of that. Like, when I was in pain, it was like, it's just gonna be, a little bit like stand still, very supportive. And the nurses were like, we need to hire him here so he can support, because it is very much needed. So then they got done with the epidural. I got that. Then after that, I rested for a little bit, and then the pressure was so bad. And they didn't check me since 8. They didn't check me until, like, they told me they were gonna check me at 1. So they were like, oh, they were like, oh, they're not gonna check you. I was like, I feel a lot of pressure. And they're like, oh, but they're not gonna check you until 1. So I was like, okay. And I was like, I can push it to 1. I can push it to 1. I was like, and then my fiance, he fell asleep, like 12 to 1, like 11:40 to 1, because that's when the other epidural happened. And yeah, so then he fell asleep, and I felt so much pressure. Every contraction, like every 2 minutes, the pressure. Literally, I was feeling everything, but to the point where, like, I was like, the epidural was not working anymore. Like, it wore off. Like, I was like, there was no point in me getting to it if it wasn't doing anything. So so I pushed through to 1, with the pressure and everything. And the doctor came in, and she was like, okay, we're gonna check you. It was like 1:02, and I was already falling asleep. When the contractions were like going up, I was falling asleep. I was like cabeceando, like, and then oh my god, because they were very, very persistent. So that's how it was for like an entire hour. So then they were like, okay, you're 10 centimeters and you're fully effaced, you're ready to push. And I was like, okay. I was like, oh my god. And then that's when my fiance jumped out. She was like, oh my god, what? So they're like, we're gonna do like practice pushes. We did like 2 until they started to get ready. Like, I think those 2 were like a minute, 2 minutes apart. And then they were like, okay, we're gonna go get ready and stuff, and we will be right back. So the nurse brought everything, and they stayed in there, and they brought the neonatal nurses in. So then I was pushing for about, I did 3 pushes, so it was like 5 minutes. It wasn't that much. And then she came out at 1:33, but I felt all of that pressure, like, you feel like, oh. And I was like, oh my god. It was like, that moment was like surreal. Like, you can't describe that moment. But it was, yeah, it was very surreal. They put her on my chest after I had her, and yeah, it didn't take a very long time. Like it went downhill quick. Once I saw her, and he was, my fiance was very supportive. Like, you need to push. Like, you got this. The baby's here. If you watch the birth vlog, you can hear it. Um, but yeah, and then they waited her, and um, and I was just, then they left her here on me, and well, they left her here for a few minutes, and they took her, and then they were cleaning me up, and then they were like, oh, you didn't have any tears, you didn't need any stitches or an episiotomy, and I was like, yes, because honestly that made the recovery so easy. So yeah. So then after um the baby, they cleaned her up, they brought her back to me, and they showed me my placenta and everything. um but yeah, it didn't take a long time. Then she was like, when she was born, she was like already looking for the breast, because obviously I hadn't ate. So she's like, she's like that when she wants to eat. So yeah, she just wanted to eat, so she ate. But I felt very nauseous, so they were like, if you feel like very nauseous, don't make the baby, like, don't get to the point where like you can't even hold the baby yet, drop her. So then I was like, I feel very nauseous, and I took the baby, and then they were doing her testing and stuff, and I ate like crackers, like wheat thins. I was like, I'm so hungry, like and they gave us these sandwiches. I literally ate like 3 bites. That was it. Because you get to the point where you get so hungry that you can't even eat. So yeah, and then after they finished, with the baby and stuff, they put an IV on her because they told me I had an infection. I don't know the name of it, but I'll try to look it up and put it somewhere down here too, because I don't remember the name. But yeah, so then they took us up to the room. So they waited like an hour. So it's 2 hours after labor where they sent you to your actual room, your recovery room, and they took her to do some to check her and stuff, and again, and they told me that, well, she was gonna get medication too because of my infection. So they went to put in that, and they didn't bring her in until like 6. And by that time when she left, I fell asleep. I was knocked out. I was like, So then, they brought her in. We tried to breastfeed her, and it was really hard because my nipples were inverted. And then and then they taught me, like, once we got to the room, I skipped that part. I'm all over the place. How to take care of yourself and stuff. But that's a whole nother video. Like, I'm not gonna talk about it. Like postpartum, all that stuff. And so then the nurse kind of explained a lot of like booklets and stuff, and videos that we had to watch, and they bought me a whole bag of graham crackers. I ate that like the whole time I was at the hospital, literally. So then obviously we fell asleep. They brought the baby back in, and then we tried to breastfeed her, but it was kind of hard because of my nipples. And so then, she's waking. So then, she fell asleep, and they taught me how to change her diaper, and they in the afternoon. So we ate lunch, and she was with us the whole day. Nothing interesting there. Then took her shower around like 3 p.m. her first shower. And then they can't try to do her hearing test, but they couldn't. She just didn't want to. she didn't let them. But then in the afternoon, they told me that she had lost. Her birth weight was 5 pounds and 13 ounces. But then she was at 5'7", which was, she had lost. So they were concerned she had lost a lot of weight. That's what they told me, and then they told me to like kind of supplement. So yeah, we were supplementing and doing breast milk. And they told me she had jaundice as well. So they told me that was normal. But I got worried. Definitely, that was really scary for me. They told me that, so she was born at 1:33. I didn't even mention that. I'm telling you, I'm doing this all over the place. Yeah, they told me that she was, that she had jaundice, and that sometimes it's because they're not eating enough, and that's why they were wanting me to supplement as well. So that way that could kind of like push all of that out, like all the bilirubin out. Oh, she has her little feet up. And so yeah, that was Saturday night, and then the next day they checked her again, and her jaundice was still at the same. So when we left the hospital, she was still had jaundice, but it kind of was lower. But honestly, the experience, obviously the hospital stay was it was smooth. They did have to change my IV Saturday night because it was leaking, so they changed it to here. But obviously we didn't have any hospital visitors because of COVID, which was really sad because I couldn't have like my family there. So that was really hard. We had to just FaceTime and call and text, and that was definitely hard. But yeah. So then Sunday, it was just, they came to check her. She was still with jaundice, and I was still on medication. But then on Sunday, because it was 24 hours without a fever, they took it out for me and her. They took mine out first, and then they took hers out. So they took hers out Sunday night, and then they took mine first. So yeah. But I'm sorry, I'm really tired. But I felt like, it was time for me to do this video. But yeah, at our hospital stay, literally, I hated it because we couldn't go to sleep. The nurses would come in and out as we were going to sleep. They would come in and out, in and out, and I was like, oh my God, like, leave us alone. Because of that last day, I didn't sleep at all. And they were coming in and out, and then when I finally fell asleep, they they literally, all of these doctors came in, like my doctor, her doctor, like breastfeeding consultant, everybody came in because I was gonna get discharged on Monday. And so yeah, and I was like, oh my God. And I literally went to sleep like at 6, I believe, and they woke me up at 7:30 because I had to check my vitals. And I was like, but honestly, it was such a different experience from anything that I have done. So yeah, but that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will be doing a lot more of like birth, because I didn't talk about a lot of stuff, but that's different videos like breastfeeding and all of that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.